Hi everyone, welcome to First Days with Johanna. It's a little bit of different setup today. We are actually in my office, as you can see, and yeah, it's because I have a 2-year-old at home today. So I'm trying to record while she actually gets a little bit of screen time. I know, but sometimes you need to do what you can do in order to get stuff done. So she's watching Hi Doggy, and yeah, hopefully I get a few minutes to talk a little bit with you. So it's been a while, and in the last episode you heard when my 2-year-old was quite helpful with trying to burn down our house in the dye studio. So this time she's helping by being home and being sick again. So enough about that. Yeah, welcome to First Days with Johanna. I'm Johanna, and this is mostly about knitting, not so much about a 2-year-old. We will be talking socks today because socks is a lot on my mind at the moment. I'm planning for what I will call a sock program during the summer. So SKeW Knitting Academy's sock program will be happening from June 1st until August 31st. And it's a knit along with some helpful tips and tricks going on, and I won't decide how much what you need to do during this knit along. You get to set the rules, what you want to achieve, and I will try to help you the best way I can. So everything about that knit along will happen in the Facebook group, SKeW Knitting Academy, and there is a link to the Facebook group, and there will be more stuff about this knit along going out next week. So you just get a little bit of sneak peek what will be going on during the summer in here. Socks, socks, and socks. All about socks. Now, so this last week was actually a week where I finished not 1, not 2, but 3 pairs of socks in 1 week. And that was, it was quite amazing to start with. Some of them have been on the needles for quite some time. And yeah, so the first one I finished was the test knit that I did for Yarnesty, the Norrfällsviken socks. The only place where you can find this pattern is over at Nordic Knitting Society, and there you will find the pattern in Swedish at the moment. It will be released in English later on. Yeah, but they were so fun to knit, and as you can see, the fit is really good, and I really like the patterning on them. I knit them out of a hand-dyed Opal yarn, and it's not available. I'm so sorry. I tried to recreate the color, and I didn't get it 100%, so we will see if I can get it. And I think it's the difference between Opal being a superwash sock yarn, and the sock yarn I'm dyeing on at the moment is not a superwash. So I think that is the difference. I can't really tell, and I will try to do a little bit of tweaking and see if I can get a better version. Now, about these socks, they come in like 5 different sizes, I think, and I knit the largest one with quite a large foot and a longer leg than I normally do, so I had to think back a little bit to bind off in another color, and yeah, in order to get them both done and both the same length and both everything like that. So that's why they have a gray stripe at the top. That was because I ran out of yarn. And in order to get them done, I decided to actually bind off in a different color. So I think that is about it about those socks. Yeah, my husband wears them and loves them, and he's very happy about them. Now, the second pair I finished, I don't have them with me either. They have been on my needles for quite some time, and if you remember, this is the socks that I've been knitting on my 9-inch needle. And apparently I can't measure correctly, so they're actually a little bit too short for my foot. And that is all on me. The width is perfect. The gauge works out. The heel fits nicely, but it's too short when it comes to the toes. So that's all on me. I can't measure, that's why. But that means that my son now have a new pair of socks, as you can see here. These socks are knitted out of the Wool Kitchen yarn in her BFL bamboo yarn base and in the colorway Cosmic Girl. I really adore this color. I bought this yarn in Edinburgh when it was Edinburgh Yarn Fest, and yeah, that was quite some time ago. And I bought it with the intention to make socks for my son. So that I mean, the yarn was always intended for him, so I guess it's right that he should have the socks, and somehow I knew it and I made them smaller than I thought. So I don't know. Really like them. They are colorful and vibrant, and they will for sure be worn on his feet too. He loves all his hand knit socks, and he was very happy when he got them. So I guess karma played me out on that one. The yarn was intended for him and I tried to sneak in and steal it, so that didn't work out. They will be for him instead. The third pair of socks, I actually have them with me here. They are on SKeW number 2 in a lucky colorway, so I can't really recreate it. This was the first sock tube that I cranked on my circular sock machine. So it was just a long tube, and then I added ribbing, I put in the toes, and then I put in the heels on both the socks. And in a short while you will see some video clips from when I did all this, and I will tell a little bit more about it. And I had a measuring incident on this socks too, because I measured out the first heel, everything looked great. I measured where I need to put it in and tried the sock on if it's perfect. And then I went to measure my second sock, and somehow, I mean, you always hear measure twice and cut once. Well, I measured once and I had to rip back my heel, graft the opening shut again, fasten all the ends, and measure again. So when you do a true afterthought heel, make sure to measure correctly, because that was a lot of work and a lot of frustration that went into just trying to fix this heel and trying to get it work again and measure and measure and measure. But this is my first ever cranked sock tube that is now a pair of socks for me. I haven't taken any finished photos yet, so I can't share any pretty pictures of them. And yeah, but they are done. All the ends are woven in because there are a lot of ends when you do it this way. But it takes absolutely less time than it does to knit a complete pair of socks. And weaving in those ends, I mean, it's not the end of the world. That was the 3 pairs of socks that I finished this week, or last week, actually. Now, on my needles at the moment are basically 1 pair of socks that I can't show you because it's a test knit for Yarnesty again. I will show them when they are released and you will get to see them and appreciate them. But I have a new colorway that I dyed up that is on its way to my needles. So I dyed up a new colorway that I'm calling Dive. A lot of blues, a little bit of green, and for some reason I had one skein that was a little bit bluer than the rest. So I thought I'd take this 50-gram skein and pair it with one of the others and do something fun with it. So these are, I wound up yesterday when I had a couple of minutes over, and they are on their way to my needles now. And I'm not quite sure what I will do with them. They are a little bit similar from time to time, but most of them you can spot the difference. So I'm thinking that I might want to do my pattern called Rakt spår, or straight ahead. It looks like this. I think they will be pretty in that pattern, even if it's very low contrast. And let's hope for the best. I think I'm going to try that one and see what happens. And if it will work, then I'm quite happy. Because blue socks seems to be on my mind at the moment. I mean, these are gray and blue and a small green as well, but mostly gray and blue. And the socks I can't show you, they are also like teal blue, dark teal blue. And now I have these, and Theo's sock, they were also blue. So I'm guessing I'm in a blue spot at the moment, and everything I'm gonna knit is blue. That's the way it is. Sometimes you hit the green, and sometimes you hit the natural shades, and sometimes you hit the yellow. It's been a big part of my life over the winter, I think. But at the moment, I guess it's blue. So that's the way it is. Now, for all of you that want to know more about it, this is the way that I turned the sock snake into a pair of socks. I tried to record as much of it as I can, and in the middle of it there is also a tutorial on how you can do a true afterthought heel. So it's not that in-depth. I'm not showing you how to actually make the heel, but I'm showing you how you can measure out and how you will do to be able to put in the heel. How you actually knit the heel later on, that will be for you to decide, or for you to know. But basically it's knitting a toe again in the place where you will want to put the heel. Yeah, so let's get into some tutorials. Here is how I turn a sock snake into 2 socks. This is my first sock snake that I knitted on my circular sock machine. I've knitted the first ribbing, and that is basically the same thing as I would do on this part. So I will pick up every stitch from my working yarn, and then I will remove all the scrap yarn. Now I've picked up all the stitches in one round, and I will actually snip off the yarn not the row immediately above, but one row above. So it's easier to unravel, because this is the top of the knitting and I had a little bit of rough start, so that's why I picked up the stitches a couple of rows down. But since this is the top of the knitting, I can't really unravel it, because you can only unravel knitting from one way. It's always tricky if you do it the wrong way. So that's why I'm gonna snip off my stitch and simply unravel from there instead of doing all of this bit. Like that. And the reason why I did this one row above is because in theory now I will have an workable end to weave in. I just need to find it. And remove a lot of scrap on the way. And when doing it one row above, you don't have, or you don't risk any of the stitches that you picked up. So they should be okay, all of them. So here we are, we have one end that we can weave in, and we have live stitches on the needles. So now I will connect my spare ball of yarn, and I will knit the ribbing for as long as I like, and then I come back and basically I will do the same thing to where I will place the toes. What I will do then is fold this in half, and I will take 2 sets of needles and pick up 2 rounds, one on each side, and then I will snip the yarn in the middle and unravel it and do the same thing. And then I will work the toes. And from that, I'm gonna work the heels later on. So here I picked up for the toe. We have one ribbing up here and 2 sets of needles in the middle and another ribbing down there. So I picked up 1 row of stitches and then 1 spare row in the middle, and then picked up another set of stitches. And the way to do here is to actually snip 1 stitch. 1 stitch. That is very important. Don't snip all of them, because you won't get a long enough end to weave in when you need to. So 1 stitch and then unravel between them, kind of like doing an afterthought heel, where you also can snip 1 stitch. So let's try to do this. My very small snip from Haya, and going in here, snipping off 1 stitch. There we go. Now it's time to unravel this. Now when you do unravel, you unravel till the end of one side, and then you go from the other side, so you actually get a long end to weave in on both sides. Because if I continue on here now, then I will have very long end here and no end at all on the other side. So flip it over and unravel from the other side now, so you get 2 long ends to weave in. And here we go, 2 separate socks, no stitches dropped, and 2 long ends to weave in. Now I will knit some toes the way I like to do, and then I will continue on with the heels. I finished the toe of the sock, and now I'm ready to place the heel. I've calculated out where I need to place the heel in order to get the heel or the sock to fit right. So I will do some measuring of the sock to know that I will place it in the correct spot. And what I found out was that I was going to measure 18 centimeters on this. And that means that I will pick up my stitch or my stitches here. And I will pick up this row and leave one row in between. And I also want to pick up slightly more than just half of the stitches because I have a high instep. So I will pick up a total of 44 stitches per side. So that equals 88 stitches around. That is true. And yeah, all of my calculations have been based on that, but before you do that, make sure that you have the correct numbers if you want to add on stitches. So I will start with picking up these 2 rows here on one circular needle, not on 2, on one circular needle. When you pick up for your heel, make sure that you have the toe flat so you get the heel on one side, so you won't get the toe looking like this when you picked up the heel. So pay attention how your toe is when you start picking up in your stitches for the heel. There we go, the stitches are all picked up, 44 stitches on each side of this row here in the middle. And in order to have ends that I can weave in on both sides, I need to snip 1 stitch in the middle here. I can't cut it, I just need to snip 1 stitch. And I will use this mini cutter, I think it's called Lazy Kitten Snips or something from Hiya. And I will cut 1 stitch in between and unravel from both sides so I can add in my heel. Actually, I'm gonna hold inside the sock while doing this so I don't accidentally snip on the other side too. There we go, is just 1 strand there, and snip it off. And then the easiest way to do this is to take the needle and unravel so you get 1 end on both sides, or on each side. So here it is just before knitting. I have 1 end on this side and there is 1 end on this side. And all the stitches are live, and I will add in my working yarn and do a heel. That is the way that I turned the sock snake into a pair of socks. And yeah, as I said, I had some mishap and I had to rip back one of my heels and remeasure and do it correctly. So I have 2 pairs, or 2 socks that actually fit my feet and aren't too big. But now they are all done. All the ends are woven in, and I'm so excited to start wearing these because my sock drawer is actually getting a bit low. There are a lot of stuff waiting to be mended, or that actually have served me for like 12 years. So it's time to maybe say goodbye and knit a new pair of socks instead. It's so hard. Why is it so hard to actually let go of a pair of socks that you made? Is it because you know how many hours you put into the sock? Or yeah, we will see. This is it for this week, and I hope you will have a lovely week, and we will see each other next week. Then I will let you know all about the SKeW sock program that will happen this summer from June 1st till August 31st. And as I said before, it's a knit-along sock based, and everything will happen inside our Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, check it out below and find your way over there so you get in on the start. Now, I hear that someone needs some attention, so I will say goodbye and happy knitting. Bye!